Hi, I am Elizabeth Berry, and today we're going to be exploring a technology tool called iReady. This is an evidence-based learning program. Students take a diagnostic test in the beginning, middle, and end of the school year to see where they're at in their learning, and then their curriculum is based off of that. There are also small group options and assignable lessons, as well as the pathway that they're on based on their diagnostic test. So today we're going to generally briefly explore the website, and then as we move through our PLN, we will dive a little bit deeper. Today I just want to show you the overalls. So you can see right here. This is the website that you go to at first. It says evidence-based instruction to help every learner grow without limits. So they start with an assessment or a diagnostic right here, an adaptive assessment designed to provide teachers with actionable insight into student need. Once the diagnostic is complete, they have pathways. There is a literacy component and a math component. They take diagnostics on both. So we do balance those out and everything like that. And then from there, they go through their learning. So after we go through the diagnostic test, we move over to the instruction side. So the personalized instruction is what I'm mentioning based off of their diagnostic test. And then there's also there's also teacher-led sections for math and reading. You can assign them lessons. It gives you data based on where they're at in their personalized pathway. So, if they miss the same question 3 times in a row, it's going to tell you that they need help with this topic. Or if they're struggling with a certain vowel pattern continuously, it's going to tell you that they need help with that. And we'll go into the more actual detailed data in a little while. This is just an overall view. So that's the iReady classroom is where you can assign them things based on their needs. The teacher toolbox is a very interesting thing because makes suggestions on how you should do your groupings. And a lot of us, have other data that we make our teacher small groups from. So it's interesting to see what they suggest as groupings and what we're doing as groupings, and compare those two. So I like that. Georgia Reads and Georgia Writes. I'm not sure if everybody does that. I know we're just beginning to do Georgia Writes. So I honestly haven't explored this section of it as much, but it is part of it because I want to say it's being mandated in the whole state. I could be completely off about that though. So this is just some of the situations that iReady is helpful. It's great for distance learning. It's great for ELLs, English language learners. It's data driven. It's Common Core aligned. They have Spanish. It's aligned with the science of reading, which a lot of people are leaning towards. It's also a great summer program for the kids. So there's a lot of situations that this program can be useful. There's a lot of research behind the science of reading, which is what this is based off of, as well as in the math. So they have a lot of articles and research done about that they can do this. There's a family center, which I'm going to go to in just a second, but their customer support is also really nice. They have a chat option. They have a AI option as well to answer some questions. So it's very helpful. So I briefly talked about the assessment section already, where they take the diagnostic test and then their pathways are determined based on that. Their pathways vary throughout as well based on how they're performing. So, you can see some of the data, and like I said, we'll dive deeper into the actual information in a little while. But you can see it gives you graphs, it gives you numbers, it gives you percentages, it gives you growth percentages. So the data is very, very detailed through the assessments. So in the reading part of it, like I mentioned, they do the science of reading, which is evidence-based and research-based, and it's done in both English and in Spanish, which for me personally, I'm a dual language teacher, so my students do half their day in English, half their day in Spanish. So this is very helpful for our program. A lot of programs like this that are bought into don't have language components, so this is so nice to be able to use. You can see different running records timed that are used. There's writing components that they can do because not everything is always on the computer. So giving them prompts and other things to practice is great. These are all different resources of where they're pulling phonics of reading, iReady assessment. So these are all the different ways that they come up with what the students need to be working on. And then let's go over to the math section really quick. So the math section is very much centered on the Common Core standards. There's a lot of manipulatives. There's digital manipulatives that they can use in the program, and then they're also encouraged to use manipulatives on their desk with the program as well, which I think is really helpful because they're tying it all together that way. Again, you're provided with ample amount of data, percentages and all different things. And then here is where they get their research and their pathways from. So as I have mentioned, there are a lot of benefits to this. Another reason why I really like iReady is this part right here, and that's the family center. Because parents want to know what all these numbers mean. They might come to parent-teacher conferences and we're like, yeah, they're reading on level J. Well, what does that even mean? Or, they're gifted in math. Well, what does gifted mean? So the parent center really helps them. The family center really helps them to kind of understand what we're doing here, what these numbers mean. All the parent documentation comes in, all the languages as well. So everybody can really understand how the children are doing. There's at-home data parts where if the parents would like to help them or encourage them, there's things to do at home, fridge tips. So every time you print out a data report or an update, it gives tips on what that student is struggling with at that time to help. Troubleshooting, encouragement. So the family center is just really helpful. I direct my families here a lot. So now in the next video, this was a brief overall introduction. In the next video, we're going to talk about actually inside of iReady once you're logged in, once you're seeing student data and that type of thing. But overall, this was the general